Do androids dream of electric sheep? This may seem like nothing more than a hypothetical question at this point, but seeing how fast technology has been advancing, it might even be relevant to society. I spend a lot of time with electronics. I spend more time with electronics than even with my friends. And I'm sure some of you guys have upgraded your phone more than once in the same year. I'm going to go over specific advances in technology, more domestic ones, such as computer hardware, cell phones, and the internet, while indicating that there's no intention of them ever slowing down. First, I'm going to go over computer hardware. My computer I built right after graduating about 4 or 5 years ago, graduating high school. And now it's garbage. Most budget machines today could even kick my PC to the curb. And that was 5 years ago. I built it top of the line. And why does this happen? Well, Gordon Moore suggested that the number of transistors incorporated in a chip will approximately double every 24 months, which means every 2 years that processors are going to be twice as efficient. So that just shows you how fast that computer processors grow. And not only has this become a prediction, it's become a business model for future semiconductor companies. They don't only look at it as a prediction, they also follow it like a such as a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now that I've talked a little, well, graphics cards also are very fast when it comes to advancing. They come out every 6 months, and they put the previous one to shame. So it's kind of funny that my graphics card, which was top of the line at the time, is now garbage and it's obsolete. Now that I've talked about computer hardware, I'm going to move on to cell phones. I've mentioned that cell phones are even worse when it comes to coming out pretty quickly, because they come out as early as even the next quarter, which a quarter is like every quarter is like 4 quarters in a year. So next quarter there'll be a brand new model, which is kind of ridiculous. So every 3 months. I have a friend that every time I see him, he has a new cell phone. And I don't know, well, he works for Verizon, which makes a little bit of sense, but it's kind of ridiculous that every time I see him, he has a new cell phone. I remember when cell phones' primary feature was to turn on and off, and they might just make a cell phone call. But now, they do so much more than that. They have applications, they can text, they can do more than just call. And now cell phones replace landlines. There was a statistic on UPI that said that it rose about 30% of households had more cell phones in their household, and that landlines in the same amount of time decreased by like 8%. And cell phones now blend seamlessly with the internet to make it even more convenient, which leads into my next point, the internet. I remember when the internet was something that when you connected to it, it would tie up the line with noises like and who remembers the time when you had to ask your mom if you can use the internet because she might be expecting a call in a couple of hours? And Bill Clinton said, "When I took office, only high-energy physicists had even heard of what is called the World Wide Web. Now even my cat has a web page." Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, online gaming, these have all grown in the past 5-6 years, they don't even have a 10th anniversary yet. And like, the internet has grown so fast, and files that took hours to complete are now taking seconds. I've gone over 3 specific modes of technology. I've gone over cell phones, I've gone over computer hardware, and I've gone over internet. And I think that the progression of this technology is going so fast that it completely overshadows its predecessors, whether it be a year, if you look back a year, or you look back a few months. In the future, I think there's more to come, because I think that it has no intention of slowing. And Androids will be more than just cell phones. And they might just dream of electric sheep.
All right, well, I like the attention device. A little Philip K. Dick to start the morning off is always a good way to go. The subject is broached pretty early on. What's not very clear is what your point of view is. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to convince us of. You're kind of sharing this vision about what's going on with technology, and there's no controversy on that. You're revealing stuff that is interesting, and it's good to know those things, but what are you trying to persuade us of? That if there's a prediction that you're making, you need to state that prediction. If there's a danger that you're trying to warn us of, make an explicit statement of that. That was the main problem that I had with the speech, is that I found the subject interesting. I liked the examples that you had, but I didn't know what it was I was supposed to be convinced of at the end of the presentation. And as a consequence, it was a lot less satisfying than it should have been. It's well organized. You've got a good preview at the beginning of the speech. In the body of the speech, you're doing clear signposting. There's a very nice summary at the end of the speech reminding us about what the main content was, but not necessarily reminding us about what it is we're supposed to be convinced of. There's some good information early on about how quick the processors go. After that, it's mostly generic kind of information where you're asking people to kind of recall how differently things are than they were just a few years ago. And you use your personal experience, I think that's fine, but it wouldn't be hard to find some information about how rapidly things have changed. I did like the Clinton quote at the end. I thought that did a pretty good job illustrating, for instance, how media have changed and how the technology has influenced the way media has changed. And that's pretty effective. And the fact that there's some good factual data here that a lot of these things, they haven't even celebrated their 10th anniversary yet, when you're talking about YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all those things and how ubiquitous and important they all seem to be. That's one of those other things I think you needed to include in the presentation. I know people know that they are widespread, but what kind of impact have they had? I think that could have been developed a little bit more. And then you could argue, for instance, maybe that the social media is overtaking our ability to control it, or that society is not yet able to understand the implications of the new technology, or we're going to go through some kind of future shock situation here where we are overwhelmed with the changes that are going on, and it could portend some problem for us. Then I think maybe there would be something a little bit more persuasive about the speech. I thought you did a nice job, for the most part, talking to the audience. Like I said, I like the opening and the closing. I think that works pretty well. And you look at the audience for the most part.